I have one item of business I'd like for us to discuss while we're together real quick. If anybody else has anything, we're happy to do this under other business. I know just from the rumor mill, we're probably going to have, next Tuesday's meeting, we're going to have a lot of people involved regarding the, what we started at our January meeting regarding the Second Amendment issue. I'll just speak my spill on it first, and y'all can speak up. Since that meeting, I've probably received 10 different resolutions. I don't know what I'm considering, what I'm not considering. I've got one from Raven County, I've got one from Habersham County, I've got one from Cherokee County. I've got 2 different ones that have Macon County written on it, but I don't know where they go. I've got one from 2 other counties in North Carolina. I've got some out of Virginia. I don't know kind of which way's up. And then I asked our county manager to provide me my oath of office that I gave as a Macon County Commissioner. And in this oath of office, I say twice, that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States. So I'm at a little bit of
And the state of North Carolina.
It does say North Carolina too, but I think with the Second Amendment, they're predominantly focusing on that. So I don't know what more I can do. I mean, I've already sworn on the Bible that I would uphold the laws and Constitution of the state and of the federal government, but if this is something that y'all feel is important that we need to continue a discussion on because we haven't already done enough, then let's task Chester or Derek or somebody with giving us something that we can all look at without 10 different somethings coming out of left field that, again, I don't know kind of which ones I'm supposed to and which ones I'm not. But y'all open up. I don't know. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of people here probably at our next meeting that we're going to have to speak to or something. And I'd like a little direction from kind of where y'all stand on it. So.
Well, I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, that, you know, we've done and took our oath of office. We'd uphold the Constitution. I cannot raise my hand for any kind of resolution that's going to be breaking the law. And this is, I mean, that's a Chester question, but, you know, a lot of these, it's a symbolic. It's all symbolic. There's no real, it's political and symbolic is what it is. And it's all well and good, but I think we've done took that oath of office. That we have to uphold. So what, if anything, I'd ask that our county attorney research it, and I, if you read his email, but I mean, I really, you know, if you want to take a resolution and put it in the archives, and if it's ever needed, I mean, if it's going to be a resolution, it needs to go to the legislature, not the county commissioner. We're an arm of the state. We have to do what the state says. Just look at the unfunded mandates. That's how you got to look at it. So that's how I feel about it, and that's not against. I probably got more guns than maybe Paul Higgs, but I mean, it's not about the gun issue. Everybody on this board is, you know, is hunters and has more guns, and I don't think that's the issue here. I just think it's turned very political, and I don't see no purpose that it would help the overall citizenry of Macon County. I just don't see it.
Anybody else want to speak or?
Well, you know, we've set it up for them to come and present. I think it's, you know.
I don't think we've set up anything.
Well, I'm
they just said
glad that they get us a resolution, you know.
Yeah, I think they were invited to present a proposed resolution. I think you have received a number of those.
I've received all
what I
kinds.
understand. And so the question, you know, I think for each of y'all is to take a
Here's
look at
5 right
those
here.
and to decide whether any of those, you know, fits with what you're interested in doing, or if not, or if you want to make sure that if you choose to do one, that you do one that is not going to run afoul of the law as it presently exists, or your oaths of office. You can direct me to prepare one. But there's nothing that requires you to do anything.
I think I've seen the Haywood and I haven't seen the Raven County. And I may have just did a quick read. But their instance, in my opinion, was that that's county commissioners, their body was in support of the Second Amendment. That was basically it. They just reaffirmed what, in the Constitution, that they just reaffirmed what we made a note to. Did I read that wrong, or anybody else read
No,
it?
Haywood's is basically, they just voted on it, I think.
Yeah,
It goes just slightly further than that,
Okay.
but generally that's
and to
what it
me,
is.
that didn't hurt my feelings when I was reading what they had put down. I could live with that. So if there's something that we need to do, and if it has to come into some kind of situation as a group or commissioners, we do support the Second Amendment.
I think that's just a choice this board has to make. If it wants to make the choice of providing assurance to individuals who have petitioned you to specifically support the Second Amendment, if you want to provide
If you do that, how many constitutional amendments are there?
27.
27, 28, something like that?
Yeah.
What about the first and second and the third and
You're
fourth,
not going to
fifth?
get any argument with me.
I mean,
But I think the courts are the ones that has to determine if there's any alteration or anything. We just support what the Constitution has at this time.
I think what you support, what you have agreed to do when you took your oath of office is to support,
we put our hand on the Bible and said that,
you
didn't we?
supported the United States Constitution and North Carolina Constitution, both of which has something to say about gun rights. But you also, whether you know it or not, you also agreed to support the way we interpret the Constitution. And when there's a difference in how we interpret the Constitution, courts make that decision. Not me, not you, not the county manager, not the sheriff, but courts make those decisions. If every one of us in these 100 counties decided it was our job to interpret the Constitution, we would have chaos, because there would likely be 1,000 or 10,000 different opinions.
Why can't you put that in just what you said? What's wrong with it? I mean, you have to have direction.
I
Many
think,
people I've talked to, I feel like there's a need for Gary Shields to do something. I think there's an expectancy out there, but I think this, my feeling is this board needs to make the resolution, not to receive it from somebody else. Did that make sense?
After all, it is your voice,
Right.
not somebody else's voice. It
And
should be your
And the
resolution.
resolution would be what you just put in there, and hey, we support the Second Amendment.
And I should have prefaced what I said is I very much support the Second Amendment and North Carolina constitutional provisions. I own guns, and those rights to own and possess guns are very important to me.
I think it may be a political, I heard Ron or somebody back there say, it's gun sanctuary is the terms they're wanting to employ. And I think it's a political statement that, hey, you know, after it's West Virginia or Virginia triggered a lot of this stuff.
And nothing's
Yeah.
passed in Virginia.
Pardon?
Well, actually, a good bit of it has passed.
Well, I mean, but nothing where they gonna come get your gun, they're gonna come break in your house and take your gun.
Not yet.
No.
Well, there's some crazy stuff in that. Of course,
It is.
it's
Yeah,
all
but our
in the
legislators say that there's
state.
nothing, after you speak to them, they say, are you kidding? There's nothing.
But
So
there
if
have
that
been-
ever comes to fruition, and there's nothing there's nothing those that the counties have passed, they'll tell you.
We're not going to change a thing.
And now the state,
They're
in
not.
North
It's
Carolina-
just it's symbolic. It's all symbolic.
well, now, getting back to Virginia, some of that's real stuff, though, where they're banning indoor
But the counties
firearms.
can't do that. The county have nothing to say about that.
We don't get to make those decisions. That's preempted by the state.
Yeah.
But we can.
So if you want to
defend
do a
that.
resolution,
We can-
give it to Kevin and Jim Davis. That's who needs a resolution, not us.
I think if you're concerned about the issue, and if the public's concerned about the issue, they should be aware that there have been a number of bills introduced into the state legislature that are very similar to the very laws that have been introduced and some of which have been passed in the state of Virginia. There are multiple bills in our state legislature right now. I don't know that they're going anywhere. The indication I've gotten is they're not going anywhere. But the reality of it is, the real argument, if you want to be heard on either side of this issue, the place to do that is before the legislature at this time. And if it doesn't come out to suit you, then you've got the chance to go to court and deal with it there. Either side.
Say something briefly on this? Mr. Tank?
Sure, go ahead.
Just been hearing you talk, I don't follow I'm good with the Second Amendment, hope we keep it, everything's fine, except for the parts that aren't, but we're not gonna fix that with a resolution one way or the other. I guess what I would say, if I was going to, because there seems to be some struggling as to what this should say and should we say, and are we saying it for meaning, or are we saying it for symbolism? What I'm sitting here thinking is, Ronnie, you asked the question, how many are there? If I couldn't sit down in front of that list and write a resolution about how I felt about all 26, I don't know that I could pick any one of them out and try to do it. So just sort of my thought on it is, if I was gonna do one, I would be prepared to do, if I was gonna take a position about anyone symbolically or otherwise, I would be prepared to take a position on all of them.
When you have constitutional scholars that can't agree, you're really in,
Right.
I don't think we're
that's
gonna
my
do
point.
much to help that along.
This resolution is very similar to many of the other resolutions that this board has taken up, in that when it comes right down to where the rubber hits the road, it's meaningless. It's a resolution that is passed because a group of citizens came before this group and requested that support. In the end, that resolution had no legal binding. It meant it was not going to hold anybody's feet to the ground. It was just a statement that this board took up through guidance from legal counsel and said that we support whatever this cause is through this resolution. And this one is no different than any of the others.
Well, it's much different, Carl. This is about the
It's-
Constitution.
Let me finish,
There's
Ronnie.
never been
Let me
one here
finish,
about
Ronnie.
the
Let me finish,
Constitution.
Ronnie.
He's an interpreter.
So
I'm
we
interpreting.
can bat it around all we want, but that's what it boils down to, is, are we gonna support this resolution or take this resolution up? I'm not saying support, I'm saying take it up like we would any other resolution, and ask council to look at it and determine whether or not it's even something that we should take up. And then if it is, determine what the wording of that should be. Then this body would determine through a vote whether or not we would support it. And to me, it needs to be vetted through the same process
Yeah.
as all these other resolutions that's come before us. And I'm not taking away one bit from what Ronnie's saying, or Gary, or Jimmy, or Paul, or anybody else is saying their opinion about it. All I'm saying is that we should see it through with the same fairness that we have all the others
Keep the
that's come
process the
before.
same.
Absolutely.
And
That's
I
all
don't
I'm
have an
saying.
issue with that. I think what led off this conversation tonight is I still haven't seen anything, just like you stated or whatever, but I don't understand. I can appreciate it, but I don't understand why I've got to do it when feel like I've already done it. So, but anyway. Well, I guess we'll listen to everyone next week, and I've got my timer sitting here, so we'll be ready if we have a whole house full. And we'll go
Does
through
this
it.
board
So-
have any directions to me, one way or the other, to prepare anything for your consideration?
I didn't hear anything tonight. I mean,
We got the one from Donnie Holden, right?
I've got one
sent
from
out
all kinds of
both
people,
hard
so-
copy and emailed. He brought it by in hard copy, I put it in y'all's mailbox.
I need to
And-
check my mail.
And then I
this
also
morning.
emailed it to y'all, forwarded you the email.
That's last week, right? Doesn't you?
You're going to the office when you leave.
Sheriff, you're part of that resolution, I think.
Yeah, I am.
Which one?
And, I mean, when you say I'm
The Holden, the one
whole-
the county employee sent for.
when you say I'm part of it, what you mean
At
is
the bottom
that
of that
I'm named in it.
resolution, they're asking you to,
Correct, correct. And I definitely, I've seen a lot of resolutions. It's the only one that I've actually seen that it has my name in it and it has me taking the same oath that I stood and took with my family before many of you when I was sworn in and have taken since 1993 about supporting the Constitution. But there's a lot of language in there that I don't understand. And I like the idea of what he says about you all giving it to the county attorney to do what you all have him do with any other resolution that you all have presented to you. And then allow him to make a recommendation to you all how you're going to do that. You know, I'm just like you all. All of us in here support the Second Amendment. We're all hunters. We're all own guns. And it is concerning what's going on in other states. And I totally respect the idea. In fact, in December when we first started the Sally Port out here behind, you know, I encouraged Donnie. He told me that he was going to come to you all. And I actually encouraged him and Mr. Hurd, the two people that are involved in it, to talk to you all, to talk to you individually and as a board. And I don't know if that ever happened. I know they came to you as a complete board with a presented resolution. And I respect their opinions. That's great that they feel that they are comfortable enough to come before our board. We live in a great country where you're allowed to do that.
First Amendment.
Excuse me?
That's the
First Amendment.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And so I'm glad, you know, I love it when this place is full. You all know it rarely has people in here except for the media and maybe a department head or two. So I love it when people come. Because unfortunately what you see in the news the next day sometimes isn't exactly the same as what we saw here the night of the commission meeting. Nothing against our local media, but when you sit down and you write or edit or whatever, and don't have the whole story in it, sometimes a word or two left out can change a whole meaning. So I'm glad when people are here. That's how our government works. And I'll be short. Sorry, Paul. I know you're in a hurry.
Yeah.
But I support this. I'm not saying I support this resolution. I support the Second Amendment and all the other amendments that go along with it. I support the Constitution. I took an oath. I wear my badge and my gun every day and put my life on the line to protect everybody, and I'll continue to do so. It doesn't make a difference to me whether you write a resolution, sign a resolution, swear to a resolution. I'm going to continue to do my job, and I'm going to continue to support these people.
That's right.
She made that oath.
Absolutely.
That's
Put my hand on the most important document ever written, called the Holy Bible. And I raise my hand to the good Lord above to swear that I'd do that. And I'll continue to do that.
Okay.
All right, we get a motion to, I guess,
We're
adjourn.
going to adjourn till, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting until our next regularly scheduled meeting, which is February the 11th, 2020, at 5 West Main Street.
Got a second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor? Aye. All right, guys. Oh, yeah. So long I've been sitting down.
What's that, another one? Is that yours,
For Tuesday.
Robbie?
That's everybody.
That's their property project.
Riverside.
You just go ahead and prepare that. And we're-